This is Anatomy of Success, and I'm your host, Steve Willenhouse. This week, 6 ways to find work with meaning. Glad you joined us. Let's get started. Welcome to Anatomy of Success, where each week we discuss topics relevant to my 4 tenets of equanimity: better health, healthy relationships, healthy intimate relationships, and more satisfying work. How appropriate on Labor Day, by the way. We are going to talk today about finding work with more meaning. And I believe if we stay laser focused on substantive things in life, happiness and satisfaction improve exponentially. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe to the audio podcast as well. Head over to weatherology.com and try the Weatherology mobile app. It is free. And find me under About Us so you can follow along on social media. It can be incredibly distracting and frustrating discovering work that liberates our soul, especially if we are trapped in a very unfulfilling job. Conflicting messages from parents and pressure from friends can complicate the process of discovering meaningful work. At Anatomy of Success, satisfying work is one of my 4 tenets of equanimity. When we cultivate professional ebullience, the benefits stretch deep into our personal lives. Great compensation and ownership of our time can make life rich and rewarding and obviate the effects of careers that feel void and personally lack gratification. Despite what some experts think, work is important, and creating meaningful work can make the difference between abundant happiness and stress and anxiety. Creating a rewarding career path requires intention and deep reflection, and it doesn't happen by accident. So here are 6 ideas for helping us create work with more meaning. Personal assessment. What I mean by that is we all need to perform a deep assessment of our values and our priorities. Seeking clarity about what inspires us helps us nullify the need to constantly look outward for solutions regarding career possibilities. Without a personal assessment of what drives our curiosity and triggers our passions, it's hard to find a direction that feels authentic as we inch toward professional satisfaction. Natural proclivity. We all have it. Things we love to do that kind of naturally, organically happen. Things that inspire additional growth in life. We are good at things, and we need to find out what those things are. If we love computers, AI, virtual reality, working in a field that enables us to innovate with these new technologies is super essential. Moving toward our natural proclivities is imperative for discovering work that helps us create more purpose. When we ignore these natural inclinations, we dismiss something satisfying in favor of something safe. Progress. Now, deciding what career path to take, that requires effort and action. Small steps make a big difference, and each step can result in giant leaps forward. By simply moving in the direction of our interests and relying on connections, we can create momentum. Here's an example. A young person at the gym expressed their frustration to me in finding work they love. I offered them to connect on LinkedIn and never did. So what's my point? When somebody reaches out, offers you an opportunity to take a step in the right direction, grab on. Complacency is never going to get us any place in life. We have to create our own opportunities, and it can be difficult to feel sympathetic for somebody that can't recognize the obvious. Progress requires action, direction, and ambition. Even if that wasn't the right fit, a great conversation can lead to something better. If money didn't matter, many of us emphasize making lots of money as the primary focus of our career, and unfortunately, that's oftentimes leading us in a bad direction. Wealth in and of itself isn't going to be satisfying if it's not supplemented with happiness in other aspects of our life. Independence. Getting rich quick is often the preferred path which seduces people into making money fast at the expense of creating a beautiful life. Patience and persistence are often the antidote for career frustration. When we get serious about doing something we enjoy, we focus on mastery, and the money will follow. Mortality. There is no better way to appreciate the urgency of pursuing something we love than the prospect of death. When we contemplate the brevity of life, we make decisions now that expedite our commitment to happiness. We don't stay in bad relationships. We don't stay in bad jobs that are unfulfilling. By appreciating time is short and exploring all the possibilities that our time is so limited, we need to discover those things in life that truly excite us. Being bold requires doing what's uncomfortable oftentimes, including exploring our own mortality. Meaning matters. Finding work that is meaningful and substantive is absolutely non-negotiable. We have to understand the research behind mortality. Decades of studies have revealed meaningful work drives productivity. When people lack meaning, their work suffers, and so does their enthusiasm. Work becomes a job, not a vocation. 9 out of 10 people studied from Harvard University reported a willingness to surrender pay for more meaningful conditions at work. Working for a company with purpose matters as well. Creating a business with meaning matters. Making our time and our work more meaningful matters. When exploring career opportunities, we have to make sure the work aligns with our values, so more meaning is part of the reward. So on this Labor Day, I hope you discovered some benefits in this conversation about finding work with more meaning. As we celebrate the importance of work, it's more important than ever for people to discover professional success that's satisfying and rewarding. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And next week, let's get together once again. Until then, let's stay focused, let's stay positive, and let's stay optimistic.